Hello. Today I want to talk about publishing your solution locally and the build process that you go through and really how you can make the use of the Gulp scripts that come with the base solution. Now, these are not Gulp scripts that I created from scratch. These are the same ones that were published with Habitat. I find them very useful and recommend their use. What you'll want to do is, looking in the solution, you'll actually see the Task Runner Explorer, and it comes with a number of tasks. Now, when you run Gulp from the command line, it runs the default one automatically, and that will basically do everything. You should be somewhat familiar with what's going on. You can actually see the code for these by actually opening the Gulp file, and you can see the default task is doing things like copying your Sitecore license, restoring things from NuGet, publishing all the projects, applying transforms, and then calling sync unicorn. So if you're not using unicorn, you can comment that out. You can adjust it. I create a build-only target that bypasses unicorn if you just want to do that. Keep in mind, running the default or running the full thing takes some time. It's not that slow, but if you're doing builds all the time, you're not going to want to call sync unicorn. You really only want to call sync unicorn every single time you pull latest from the repository and make sure that any changes to those YAML files get pushed to your local instance. Other than that, you're really going to want to have kind of a build test cycle where you're changes in code, building it, deploying just the code. In some cases, you just want to really deploy your view files. So it's really important to understand how this works so that you're not spending all your time waiting for a full build to go through. So if you go to Task Runner Explorer, you can see there are tasks like publish feature projects and publish foundation projects. So like if you're working on a feature module, the quickest thing you can do is just double click this, which will just go make sure every single feature module you have is deployed. You can do publish foundation projects, it's kind of the same thing. I also find useful views. I don't really use configs, although that would be helpful. The thing, even with the feature projects, I mean, that is still deploying assemblies, so that will still recycle your app pools in most cases and take time for the next load. But if you're just working on views, you probably just want to copy them without taking down your app pool. So you can just do a publish all views, which will just basically copy anything. You can see there's no items because nothing was changed. There are some auto-publish scripts. These are using a node module to do the watchers on that. I don't generally recommend them because they work fine for existing files, but they don't catch any new files that get added. So if you do end up adding files, what you want to do is shut these off and then run them again if that's what your workflow is around. And I think, oh yeah, the other one I wanted to show you, so you could do a single build on a single feature, but you can't do it here. You'll see there is a published project one, but it does require a parameter. So for instance, if I wanted to run it just for sample feature, I could do a Gulp publish dash project, and it does have to match things exactly, right? Publish dash project, and then you want to use an M parameter, and then what you'd want to say the module layer, and then the feature name. So it's feature.sample feature would be valid, in which case it would just build that single one. If you don't get that right, it will give you an error because it won't understand what the task is. I don't generally do that. It's generally quicker to just do all features or all foundation without having to go to command line to do so, but it's very possible and it works. And it may be useful, especially if your solution starts getting large and you have a significant amount of features or foundational modules, and you just want to make sure you copy just that one. So there you have it. Get used to using Gulp, get used to the tasks, and optimize your workflow by making sure you're just deploying what you need to deploy so that you can test quickly and iterate quickly.